I know I talk a lot about cruise ships. I know I talk a lot about my plan to go from working full time at home, from my home office, to working full time on board cruise ships. But it's only because at this point in my life, going and living on cruise ships to go and see the world, just using the cruise ships as my way to get there, that's the point for me. Choosing to build and design the kind of life that I really want and that I feel like it's time for me to live. Does that make sense? Hello, my name is Talethea, and I am hoping that you all will come along with me as I work and plan and research and execute my intent to go from working from home full time to living on board cruise ships while also working full time. So let's do it. So welcome back to Talethea Cruises. I am documenting my real life journey to go from working remotely full time at home, which I actually enjoy, a job that I like, to eventually working and living full time on board cruise ships. Today, I want to talk about something that's a little bit bigger than the travel aspects of things because it's important to me that y'all get that. Sometimes I want to say you outgrow your life, but I don't even know if outgrowing my life is what happened with me. For me, I was a young parent, then I was a young wife, and we had lots of kids and lots of responsibilities, and I needed a job. Right? These little people that were amazing and beautiful and blessed to me needed to eat and they needed a place to live and we needed resources. And so you get a job, right? You get a job and you work. And a lot of times, and I don't know how it worked for you, a lot of times the kind of job or the kind of industry that you start working in, you look around and you just kind of apply the different skills and knowledge and things that you get to working and getting better at that job. I mean, it's not a bad thing, right? I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. In fact, I feel like even those skills were a way for me to use my natural skills to kind of make a living and contribute toward my household so we could make a living and take care of our people. I think a lot of times people want to be like, you outgrow your life. I don't feel like I outgrew my life. I just don't think I don't feel like I purposely chose it. I felt like I was grateful to get a job that paid money that would help me to be able to contribute so we could work to take care of our family. And then you kind of end up in this space. I ended up in this space where, my job was largely focused around customer service, which here again is also probably a natural talent for me. I can naturally kind of talk to people. I genuinely like giving people things that they ask for. So being able to work in certain environments in customer service really was a great asset for me, but it was a great way for me to showcase a lot of my natural talents. And that worked. And even like just the different jobs that I had throughout the years after getting that very first job, sure, they were different types of jobs. They might have been with different employers. I spent a good amount of time being self-employed. I launched some businesses of my own, but they were all jobs that focused on like me utilizing those initial skills, which is a good thing. As a result of it, I was able to do a job that and I was able to work in different jobs that didn't make me want to absolutely pull out my hair. Right? Which is kind of, when you have to get a job, you have to work somewhere. You hope it's not someplace that makes you want to pull out your hair. Now, that wasn't always the case. There were some hair pulling jobs throughout those years. I didn't stay at those forever, but it did happen. But ultimately, when the goal is to make it so that you are contributing to your household, the where you work and how your life looks every day is kind of focused around that goal. So what's happening here is not so much me outgrowing my life. It's me purposely designing a life that is focused on me living in a way that I want to live and seeing my everyday life and doing the things that I want to do and enjoy, purposely having a space in my life and showing up in like my environment and where I live. So when I was working to provide for my family, the life I dreamed for myself was really just about financial security, right? Having all the funds we need and a house that we liked and living in a neighborhood that I felt good about, driving the kind of car where the car would start every time I turned the key, right? Sure, I wanted it to be a car I like to look at, but I needed that joker to be dependable because you can't be out going through life with 4 kids and not get into a car that you can't trust to start when you get into that joker. So those were kind of the things that I dreamed about. And had strong goals for and really wanted. And I don't think there's anything wrong with those things, because I mean, honestly, if we don't be honest, y'all, parenting, marriage, raising your kids, especially when they're younger, um, and actually not even just especially once they're younger, and then as they get older, like the fight changes, but you are literally fighting for your life trying to keep up with all those people. So I don't think there's anything wrong with having certain things in your life that you're wanting and that you're imagining. The thing is, in the fight for your life, you don't always have time to stop and dream. And now that my kids are all adults and the focus for my life has changed, I've gotten the chance to do that. And so now I get to go ahead and use the different tools, skills, and things that I've learned to focus those things on going after the life I want, not just the one that I had to make sure was in place. So my people were taken care of. Most nights, most days even, I was really too tired to even dream. You know what I mean? If you have a family and you are working to take care of those people and yourself at the same time, you know exactly what I mean. Like going to sleep Sunday night knowing you have to get up the next day to go work at a job that you don't really want to go to, but you can't quit because you got to feed your people. And you don't always have a whole lot of time to do a lot of job searching, because between working and taking care of everybody and taking care of yourself, like you look around and the week is gone. You know what I mean? And every now and again you'll get a glimpse of the kind of life you want, or you'll see something somewhere and it's like, oh man, I wish I could go there. I wish I could go and hang out on that beach. I wish I could go and see like those sights or whatever. But then within a blink of an eye, life starts again. So you don't really get a chance to think about it. I think in the rush to keep up, the fight to keep up, a lot of times things that we overlook are the smaller things that we really would like to be able to spend more time thinking about, things that we just love doing, things that we enjoy, things that bring us joy, right? And bring us peace in our life. And then in a blink of an eye, you're wondering where the time went, right? All of a sudden the kids are grown, they're graduating from high school, they're leaving for college, they're getting married, having kids of their own. And then you're like, oh my gosh, what now? Right? What next? What do I want to do? And you're trying to remember the things you were wishing you could do way back when you barely had time to think. So those are the people that I'm talking to. Okay, you may have understood absolutely everything I just said, or you may have heard some just snippets of it that apply to you. But you could be like somebody that's just burnt out from their job. You could be the mom or the dad that's just tired and working to keep up with taking care of your family. You could be somebody who is just, I mean, you've worked your life, worked all these years, and you've established your career, and now you're really just trying to focus a little bit more on the things, on ways you can work joy in the things that you want to do in your life. Maybe you love your job. So this isn't even the transition that you're looking for in life right now isn't even about finding another job. It's not necessarily about like finding a new career altogether. You know what I mean? The kind of freedom that you're looking for really is, it could just be like a little more time to just do the things that you love doing and work them into your life on purpose. All of those things are important parts of your life. And if now is the time when you finally decided, okay, I'm going to prioritize those things, then I'm glad you're here. And I'm glad we're able to talk. Maybe you spent years raising your kids, supporting your spouse, helping your parents, whatever, all the things that go along with just being an adult, right? And don't get me wrong, not only am I not saying nothing's wrong with those things, like I think those things are a blessing. You know what I mean? It's just that somewhere along the way you forget to ask yourself, okay, what do I want to do? How can me showing up this week to take care of myself, how can that look? You know what I mean? Maybe you haven't even been able to admit to yourself the things you want to do, because just something about admitting to the things that you want to do feels like bad, or feels like, how could I even want that thing? You know, or you looking at your life and you seeing all the things that you have and the way you've been blessed, and the whole idea of wanting something different or wanting something better just feels like you're just asking too much or doing too much. I would like to encourage you, if either of those things are where you are, or if none of them are, you just know that there's a dream there and there's a goal there that you want to go after. This now may be the time for you to spend some time just figuring out what that is, and making the specifications, the things that you really want to do, a little more clear and a little more pronounced, even if it's just things that you are admitting to yourself. You know what I mean? I do encourage you to go after them, but sometimes we got to start where we are, and there's nothing wrong with that either.